A golem is an animated, anthropomorphic being in Jewish folklore, which is entirely created from inanimate matter, usually clay or mud. In the Psalms and medieval writings, the word golem was used as a term for an amorphous, unformed material. The most famous golem narrative involves Judah Lo ben Bezalel, the late 16th century rabbi of Prague. Many tales differ on how the golem was brought to life and controlled. Golem is a clay creature that has been magically brought to life. The name comes from the Hebrew word, golem, which means something incomplete or unfinished, like an embryo. The Talmud relates a tale of rabbis who grew hungry while on a journey, so they created a calf out of earth and ate it for dinner. The Kabbalists, Jewish mystics, determined that the rabbis did this magical act by means of permuting language, primarily utilizing the formulas set forth in the Sefer Yetzirah, or Book of Creation. Just as God speaks and creates, in the Genesis story, so too can the mystic. The word abracadabra, incidentally, derives from avracadabra, Aramaic for, I create as I speak. Thus, under the rarest of circumstances, a human being may imbue lifeless matter with that intangible, but essential spark of life, the soul. The Kabbalists saw the creation of a golem as a kind of alchemical task, the accomplishment of which proved the adept's skill and knowledge of Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. In popular legend, however, the golem became a kind of folk hero. Tales of mystical rabbis creating life from dust abounded, particularly in the early modern period, and inspired such tales as Frankenstein and The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Sometimes the golem saves the Jewish community from persecution or death, enacting the kind of heroism or revenge unavailable to powerless Jews. Often, however, Jewish folktales about the golem tell what happens when things go awry, when the power of life force goes astray, often with tragic results. The classic narrative of the golem tells of how Rabbi Judah Lo of Prague, known as the Maharal, 1525 to 1609, creates a golem to defend the Jewish community from anti-Semitic attacks. But eventually, the golem grows fearsome and violent, and Rabbi Lo is forced to destroy it. Legend tells that the golem remains in the attic of the Altneuschel in Prague, ready to be reactivated if needed. This legend reappeared in Michael Chabon's The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier in Clay. Likewise in Paul Wegener's expressionist film The Golem, 1920, the golem is a brutish creature whose powers are all too easily turned to destructive ends. In Greek mythology and later Roman mythology, the Cyclopes, circle eyes, or round eyes, singular Cyclopes are giant one-eyed creatures. Three groups of Cyclopes can be distinguished. In Hesiod's Theogony, the Cyclopes are the three brothers Brontes, Steropus, and Argus, who made for Zeus his weapon the thunderbolt. In Homer's Odyssey, they are an uncivilized group of shepherds, the brethren of Polyphemus encountered by Odysseus. Cyclopes were also famous as the builders of the Cyclopean walls of Mycenae and Tiryns. In Cyclops, the 5th century BC play by Euripides, a chorus of satyrs offers comic relief based on the encounter of Odysseus and Polyphemus. The 3rd century BC poet Callimachus makes the Hesiodic Cyclops the assistants of smith god Hephaestus. As does Virgil in the Latin epic Aeneid, where he seems to equate the Hesiodic and Homeric Cyclops. From at least the 5th century BC, Cyclops have been associated with the island of Sicily and the volcanic Aeolian Islands. Three groups of Cyclops can be distinguished: the Hesiodic, the Homeric, and the wall builders. In Hesiod's Theogony, the Cyclops are the three brothers, Brontes, Steropus, and Argus, sons of Uranus and Gaia, who made for Zeus his characteristic weapon, the thunderbolt. In Homer's Odyssey, the Cyclopes are an uncivilized group of shepherds, one of whom, Polyphemus, the son of Poseidon, is encountered by Odysseus. A scholiast, quoting the 5th century BC historian Hellanicus, tells us that, in addition to the Hesiodic Cyclops, whom the scholiast describes as the gods themselves, and the Homeric Cyclops, there was a third group of Cyclops, the builders of the walls of Mycenae.